What's up, everybody? Okay, wow, that last video, holy shit, it ruffled some feathers. I knew I was going to have some opinionated people coming out of the woodwork to talk about it, but I just didn't expect that. Like, 99% of you guys definitely, well, I'd say probably 90% of you guys definitely agreed with me that DSLRs are dying. I didn't mean that it's going to be tomorrow, that your D850 is going to be obsolete in 2 weeks. What I meant is we're starting to see they're on the way out. Mirrorless is going to be the future. The mirrorless cameras are going to start getting better, are going to keep getting better, and that is the way that we're going to end up. So moving into mirrorless now is awesome, especially the Z bodies, because they have the Z mounts. Okay, so just moving into it, this is going to be the future. I'm not saying the DSLRs are going to die tomorrow. That's not what I meant. But this also sparked something I saw in the comments by somebody who just whatever. He's leaving comments and then deleting the comments and then writing comments and then just always chirping around in my mentions about stuff. And he brought up an issue about the XQD. Anybody who shoots an one slot camera, what are you thinking? How could you be a photographer? This is going to be very short and to the point. First of all, if you do not like my content, hit the unsubscribe button. That's it. I don't know what type of person goes around on other people's YouTube pages or Twitter pages or Instagram or something, just absorbing content from people that they don't like, bother them, or they don't agree with. If I see something online I don't agree with, I say, oh, I don't agree with that. I'm not going to look at it again. I don't understand why some people just feel like they have to I don't understand what you get out of it. But anyways, my thoughts on the XQD and the single card slot. I've said this before. I am not concerned about it. In all my years of shooting, I take care of my cards. I have never had a card failure, ever, okay? That does not mean that it's not possible and it can't happen. Just like, I fly between 75 and 80,000 miles a year. I fly all the time, all across the country. That does not mean that there isn't a risk of a plane going down and me getting in a plane crash. I drive my car every single day. That does not mean that there's not a risk of me dying. But you know what? We do it anyways because the risks are low. Just like using a camera. SD cards were made for consumer electronics. They are not professional grade. So I don't care if you got 1 or 2 in them. They're not as reliable as XQD. XQD is a professional workhorse type of storage. Okay? The technology has come extremely far, extremely fast. They are extremely reliable. And yes, there are going to be people. There are millions of people using XQD cards. So there's going to be a certain amount of failures. That's just how it is. There's always a certain amount of risk no matter what you do. But for me, that risk is low enough that I'm willing to go and work. Do you think me being a professional, I don't have a clause in my contracts that all customers sign that says there's a risk of data loss and I'm not responsible if for some reason my cards get wiped or my camera breaks? Of course, any professional would have that. That is absolute worst case scenario, but you got to put it in your contract. So I don't understand what this debate is like. If you don't want a camera with a single card slot, do not buy the Z6. End of story. Me, I love the camera. I know that the risk is very low. I'm okay with it. I back up all my stuff as soon as I get home. I have my wife shooting with me who shoots the same scenarios. So if we do leave, if it's every single important scenario, we have 2 photographers on site shooting, me and my wife. So yes, if I lose some data, I could lose some images, but she's still going to have a different perspective of the same thing at a wedding, of the same event or part of the wedding happening. That's it. So, there's always going to be risk. There's never going to be 100% foolproof. If you have 3 backup cards in a camera, if they come out with a camera with 3 card slots, you're still running the risk of your camera freaking dying and, frying up every card. You're still running the risk of you dropping your camera in a lake, as you're doing a creative shot by the water. There's always some risk, guys. So it's all about what you're comfortable with. But going on and on about a debate about something like that is just so asinine because there's other cameras with two card slots. So if you don't want one, with one, go buy one with two. Go buy a Sony. I've said they're awesome. You know, I personally don't want a Sony. I like the Z6, and that's just how it is. But I think that we need to get over this thing with one card slot. XQD is an absolute professional standard. It absolutely is. SD cards are consumer grade. They're consumer grade. There's many, many, many more reports of SD cards failing. Obviously, they've been around a lot longer, but they're consumer products. They're not professional grade. If you format your XQD cards all the time, which I do before every single shoot, and you take care of your cards, you keep them in little protective cases, which I do. You make sure that everything gets backed up as soon as you get home. I have RAID storage and I have SSD backups. As soon as you get home, your chances of losing data is very low. And then if shit hits the fan and you do lose some data, you have a contract that's signed that says I am not responsible for lost data, or if my camera blows up and lights on fire in my hand, or I drop it in a lake trying to take a shot or something like that. It's just a normal business. You have a backup plan for that stuff. So I wanted to talk about that because everybody keeps bringing up the XQD issue. I know it has one card. If you don't like it, go buy a camera with two. That was a little bit of a rant there, guys, but hopefully you found this helpful. I mean, I just want to help you guys out, and I spend all my time responding back to emails, responding back to comments, helping you guys as much as I can, and I'm doing this because I get enjoyment out of teaching. I'm not doing it for any other reason. So if you don't like the content, if you don't like what I have to say, just unsubscribe, because this is a place for adults. Okay, guys? Hope you're having a good day and you're out shooting. Till next time.